Have you ever felt like life is just passing you by while you're stuck in the same loop of thoughts and habits that hold you back? Like you wake up every morning, but inside, you're still asleep, disconnected from what really matters. Tell me, when was the last time you had an honest conversation with yourself about what's really going on? It's been a while, hasn't it? And how much longer are you going to let that be your reality? It's time to change that. Time to be real with yourself. In this video, you'll discover 10 things you should tell yourself every single day. Statements that can completely transform the way you approach life. What I'm about to share isn't just feel-good talk or empty motivation. These are affirmations and reminders rooted in Stoic wisdom. That's right. The Stoics knew exactly how to talk to themselves to get back on track. And if you make these affirmations a part of your daily life, they won't just change how you see yourself. They'll change the way you face challenges and interact with the world. Are you ready to be honest with yourself again and build the life you truly deserve? Let's get started. 1. I am capable of anything. Have you ever felt stuck because of your own doubts? Maybe before a job interview, an important exam, or even just a conversation you've been avoiding, and there you are repeating in your head, "I can't do this. This isn't for me." It's like standing in front of a locked door, holding the right key in your hand but telling yourself it won't work. You know you could open it, yet your own thoughts convince you to stay frozen, not even trying. Well, that ends today. Listen, no one starts out believing they can do everything, but here's the truth. The real limit isn't what you can do, it's what you think you can do. And that's where one of the most powerful tools you have comes into play: your thoughts. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You can't control what happens, but you can train yourself to face it with resilience. Now, you might be wondering, does this really work? Let me prove it to you. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology showed that positive affirmations can literally change the way you think and act. So don't get it twisted. These aren't just feel-good phrases, they're powerful tools. When you tell yourself, "I can handle this," your brain responds by activating areas linked to confidence and motivation. It's like flipping a switch inside you, preparing you to overcome any challenge. And this isn't just theory. I've experienced it myself. I was competing in weightlifting, and the last time my own mind sabotaged me. At the crucial moment, doubts flooded in, and I froze. But this time was different. After months of training and using positive affirmations, I stood in front of the weight, took a deep breath, and told myself, "I am capable of lifting this," and guess what? That one sentence changed everything. Not only did I lift it, but I did it with a confidence I had never felt before. And wow, what a feeling. That experience taught me that more often than not, it's not the challenge that holds us back, it's what we tell ourselves about it. Now let me ask you, are you ready to change the way you talk to yourself? First, every morning before you start your day, look at yourself in the mirror. Yes, just like you did as a kid when you weren't afraid to smile at your own reflection. When we're young, no one teaches us to doubt ourselves. That's something we learn later through society's judgments. But here's the trick. Every morning, stop for a moment in front of the mirror and say an affirmation that reinforces your ability. It can be as simple as, "I am capable of facing this day." Do this daily, and you'll start noticing how that inner critic slowly loses its grip. Next, keep a notebook with you and take a few minutes to write down specific affirmations about what you want to accomplish. Imagine you're facing a challenge at work. Maybe you have to present an idea in front of your boss and colleagues, and you feel like you're not good enough. Instead of letting those doubts take over, write down, "I am capable of expressing my ideas. I am capable of speaking clearly and confidently. I am capable of adding value with my words." Do this every day. Focus on the challenges that weigh on you the most. You'll see how this practice starts shifting the way you approach those moments. Now, I won't lie to you. Doubts will come back because that's just how the human mind works. But every time they do, you'll have the tools to fight back. Telling yourself, I am capable of anything, is a declaration of war against the thoughts that try to hold you back. With each affirmation, you're reclaiming your strength, your control, and building a life filled with purpose. My friend, today could be the day you finally realize what you're truly capable of. And it all starts with these simple words: I am capable of anything. 2. I lead by example. Think of a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. When the sea is calm, it may seem unimportant, just standing there. But when chaos strikes, that light becomes the only thing guiding the way. Leading by example is exactly that, showing the way through your actions no matter how tough things get. It's not about talking about values, it's about living them. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, who faced wars, plagues, and crises, put it plainly: don't talk about what a good person should be one. It's not theory, it's practice. It's waking up every day and deciding that your values will be reflected in everything you do, from the smallest actions to the biggest decisions. Because listen, our actions are like stones thrown into a lake. The initial impact may seem small, but the ripples travel farther than you think. Take Jane Goodall, a true example of leadership. Why her? Because she didn't just talk about her commitment to animals and the environment. She lived it every single day. When no one was thinking about conservation, she was in the jungle, observing, learning, and working relentlessly to prove that chimpanzees and their ecosystems mattered. She didn't wait for others to take the first step. She took it herself. And there's more. Goodall always led with action and empathy. Instead of imposing, she educated. Instead of demanding, she inspired. She didn't rely on grand speeches or a position of power, just consistency and alignment with her values. That's the power of leading by example, showing others that change starts with us. Now listen, my friend, leading doesn't mean you have to do something huge or complicated. You can lead every single day in your own life. Sometimes it's just about taking small steps that shift the course of a situation. If you want to be a great leader, act with calm. When everything seems to be falling apart, calmness is your best weapon. Take a moment, breathe, and say something like, "We're in this together. We'll find a way." Never underestimate the power of a steady voice in the middle of a storm. And don't forget, show it. Lead with action. Be the first to do what you expect from others. If you want respect, show respect. If you want solutions, offer ideas. It's easy to demand, but a real leader demonstrates what they want to see. That kind of consistency doesn't just inspire, it transforms the way people respond. Every time you lead by example, you gain strength and purpose, not just for yourself, but for those around you. Every decision, every small action has the power to set a path for others. And here's the thing, that power is in your hands every single day. What kind of impact do you want to leave behind? So the next time you face conflict, chaos, or uncertainty, remember this. Leading doesn't mean being perfect. It means being real. Your actions are the light that guides the way. Are you ready to take that first step? Because that first step could change everything. Before we continue, if this content is bringing you value, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member to access unique benefits. And tell us in the comments, what's the one phrase you tell yourself every day to start with strength and purpose? Let's grow together. 3. I move forward with purpose. In 1826, a woman named Mary Anning walked along the cliffs of Lyme Regis, England. Life wasn't easy for her, barely making a living selling fossils, facing the scorn of a society that didn't take women in science seriously. But Mary had one thing that kept her going, a clear purpose to discover what others couldn't see. What kept her moving forward? The things she told herself every day. As she climbed those cliffs, braving the wind and criticism, she was probably repeating something in her mind like, "I am capable of finding what no one else sees," or, "My discoveries will change the way we understand history." Every step she took, every fossil she cleaned, wasn't just work. It was a declaration of her purpose. And one day, as she held a strange-looking bone in her hands, that conviction became reality. She had discovered the first complete ichthyosaur skeleton, a discovery that changed history forever. Mary Anning teaches us that it doesn't matter where we come from or how many obstacles we face. What we tell ourselves daily, those affirmations, become the fuel that keeps us moving forward. When we repeat words filled with purpose, we don't just change how we feel. We reprogram our minds to move in the right direction. Now imagine this. You have a clear goal. You're working on something that truly matters to you, something you deeply want to achieve. But suddenly, someone asks you to do something that goes against your values. Maybe your boss suggests taking an unethical shortcut to save time, or a colleague tries to convince you to follow a strategy that doesn't align with what you believe is right. At that moment, doubt creeps in. Do you compromise your purpose to fit in or move faster? Or do you stand firm even if it makes things harder? Now think about how Epictetus would act. Do you think he would cheat? Of course not. He wouldn't let himself be swayed by the pressure of the moment. Instead, he would pause and ask himself, does this bring me closer to my purpose or take me further away? What decision can I make today to stay true to what I value? He would likely tell himself, I move forward with purpose. I stand firm in what I believe, even if the road is harder. Because moving forward with purpose isn't just about reaching a goal, it's about getting there in a way that reflects who you are. Epictetus teaches us that moving forward with purpose means staying consistent, even when the easier path seems tempting. Because when we sacrifice our values for convenience, whatever we gain is never worth what we lose. So how do you develop the strength to keep moving forward, no matter what, while staying true to your purpose? Every morning, write down an affirmation that keeps you focused on moving forward with purpose. For example, if you're working on an important project, tell yourself, I move forward with purpose. I will complete my 2 key tasks today. Write it on a post-it or in your planner. Somewhere you'll see it throughout the day. This keeps your focus sharp, even when distractions or unexpected challenges arise. And when you're faced with a difficult decision, evaluate how it aligns with your purpose. If your goal is to launch a business and someone offers you a collaboration that doesn't fit your values, ask yourself, does this bring me closer to or further from my purpose of building a meaningful business? If it doesn't align, make a firm decision. You can even write down, today I move forward with purpose by prioritizing what brings me closer to my goal, even if it means saying no to what distracts me. This kind of daily reflection will keep you focused and strong. Remember, moving forward with purpose isn't about filling your day with tasks. It's about making sure every action has meaning and brings you closer to what you truly want. It's like sharpening an arrow before releasing it. Every affirmation you tell yourself helps you hit the target. 4. I grow stronger every day. Oof, my friend, I know, everything feels heavy. The daily stress, the decisions, the coworkers, the family members who think you should live their way. All right, I'll stop, you get the point, right? It's like every day you're asked to lift a stone and place it on a wall that never seems to end. At first, it hurts, it feels impossible. And you think, how am I supposed to handle all of this? Relax, you're not alone in that feeling. We've all been there. But here's something you might need to hear. It's not the easy days that make you stronger. It's every single one of those stones, every challenge that pushes you beyond your limits. Because even if you don't see it now, with every struggle, your hands grow stronger, your wall rises higher, and you become more resilient. The Stoics understood that strength isn't found in the absence of challenges, but in how we face them. Epictetus said, "It is not circumstances themselves that shape us, but how we respond to them." Think about that. Every tough decision, every moment of doubt is an opportunity to grow. Strength isn't about never falling, it's about rising again, each time with more determination. Or do your muscles grow without hitting the gym? Your inner strength is no different. It's a muscle you build with every challenge, every day you choose to push forward, even when the road gets rough. So, what can help you build that strength? Create your own visual board. But don't worry, it's simple. Just grab a piece of poster board or open a digital template and divide it into 3 sections. In the first section, write down your goals. Be specific. For example, I want to improve my physical health. Add inspiring images, someone working out, healthy food, anything that motivates you. In the second section, list your achievements so far, big or small. Maybe you ran 5 kilometers for the first time, or maybe you learned to say no to things that drain you. This reminds you that you're already strong and have come much further than you think. And in the last section, write affirmations that reinforce your strength mindset. Something like, I grow stronger every day. Read it out loud every morning while looking at your board. And most importantly, believe it. This habit boosts your confidence and rewires your mind to focus on what you can control and how you can keep moving forward. Why does this work? Because our brains need visual and tangible reminders of what we're capable of. That board won't just be a motivation tool. It'll be your roadmap to building strength day after day. And here's the best part. No matter how heavy the day feels, you'll always have that affirmation to ground you. So listen closely. Every time you say, I grow stronger every day, it won't just be a phrase, it'll be a declaration of war against doubt, fear, and exhaustion. A promise that no matter what happens, you keep going, keep growing, keep getting stronger. Because, my friend, we are not the weight we carry. We are the strength we choose to lift it with. 5. This too shall pass. Picture a gray day where the rain just won't stop. Thunder rumbles, the sky is covered, and it feels like the sun will never shine again. But deep down, you know it will. It always does. The storm never lasts forever. And it's the same with difficult emotions, with moments that feel impossible to overcome. Even if you can't see it right now, everything has an ending. That's why the phrase, "This too shall pass," is like that small ray of light, reminding you that behind the clouds, the sun is still there. These words aren't new, even the most powerful people have found comfort in them. Abraham Lincoln once said that, "This too shall pass" was one of the wisest phrases he had ever heard. Some say he even had it engraved on a ring. Whether that's true or not, we'll never know. But what matters is how this phrase shaped his approach to life. It didn't just help him endure the darkest difficulties. It also kept him grounded during moments of success. For Lincoln, it was a reminder that everything, the good and the bad, is temporary. Patience and calmness were his greatest allies through life's ups and downs. Doesn't that sound like the mindset of a true Stoic? The Stoics believed that extreme emotions, both positive and negative, are like waves. They come, they crash into us, and then they fade away. What matters is not clinging to the moment, but facing it with balance and resilience. It's about having the ability to look at the present and remind yourself, this too shall pass. My friend, this isn't easy for me to share, but I will. There was a time in my life when I felt completely lost. Everything seemed to be falling apart. My efforts weren't paying off. My days were filled with frustration. In my personal life, in my work, everything was crumbling. I felt like there was no way out, like my life had come to an end. But I had a friend who always told me, stay calm. This too shall pass. At first, I didn't even listen. I ignored it, unconsciously shutting it out. But little by little, those words started sinking in. They weren't a magic solution, but they gave me just enough calm to think more clearly, to take one small step forward. Over time, things began to get better. It wasn't fast or easy, but those 4 simple words gave me the patience to endure the process. I'm telling you this because I care about what you're going through, because I know that sometimes problems feel bigger than what we can handle. But let me remind you of something. The storm never lasts forever. And while it passes, there's something you can do to lighten the load. When you feel like everything is caving in, take a mental pause, literally. Stop for a moment, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. In that pause, tell yourself, this too shall pass. But don't just leave it at that. Pair that pause with an action. Want to know what helped me? I forced myself to leave the house and go for a walk. even when I didn't feel like it. Walking helped clear my mind, connect with something bigger than my problems, and remind me that there is always movement, even when it feels like everything is stuck. So here's the best advice I can give you. Take your pause. Find your action. It could be going for a walk, writing down your thoughts, or simply taking a moment to be alone with yourself. That small combination of stillness and movement can make all the difference. And now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where you told yourself, "This too shall pass"? How did it help you get through it? Share your experience in the comments. How this idea has given you strength in the past, or how you plan to use it moving forward. 6. I leave excuses behind. Let me take you to a defining moment in the life of someone who refused to let excuses shape his story. Someone who used them as a starting point for something better. Imagine being in a cold prison cell, the walls seeming to close in a little more each day. That was Wes Watson's reality, a man who made mistakes and ended up behind bars. He could have drowned in excuses. I don't have the resources. No one will give me a chance. My life is already ruined. But one day, he made a choice. He decided that none of that would define him. He stood in front of the mirror in his cell and told himself, "I leave excuses behind." Every morning he repeated this affirmation like a ritual, and every day he made decisions that brought him closer to the person he wanted to be. He couldn't change his past, but he could build his future. And he did. When he walked out of prison, he didn't just regain his freedom. He had transformed his mindset. Today he inspires thousands with his story and his message. No excuse is valid when you decide to change. The Stoics would have understood this perfectly. To them, excuses were nothing more than mental barriers. Remember what Epictetus taught us? What truly limits you isn't external circumstances, but how you choose to face them. Because let's be honest, waiting for things to change on their own is easy, right? Filling yourself with excuses to justify doing nothing. It's far more comfortable to say, "The doctor told me I have knee problems, so I can't exercise," than to take control and say, "I have knee problems, but I can start by walking 15 minutes a day to improve my health." That small shift in thinking transforms how you approach challenges. Excuses are dangerous, my friend. They give you a false sense of comfort, a way to avoid responsibility. It's like wrapping yourself in a thick blanket in the middle of summer. At first, it feels comforting, but soon enough it suffocates you, leaving you restless and stuck. So what can you do to change this? This might be tough to hear, but maybe you need to hear it. You have to take responsibility for yourself. Focus on developing your inner strength to adapt and move forward. The Stoics taught that true freedom comes from taking full responsibility for our choices. Listen up. Stop blaming fate, the government, or your neighbor for what's happening in your life. Sure, it might make you feel better for a moment, but in the long run, it only holds you back. Stop telling yourself that the problem is out there, and start reminding yourself that the power is in your hands. It's time to see every challenge as an opportunity to become better. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you looked at a difficult situation and convinced yourself you had no control over it? Those excuses may seem like they're protecting you, but they're actually paralyzing you. But there's something you can do to break free. Each morning, stand in front of the mirror and say, "Today I leave excuses behind." But don't just leave it as words. Attach it to something specific. If your usual excuse is, "I don't have time," say instead, "Today I will organize my time to focus on what matters." Then actually do it. Set aside an hour for that task you've been avoiding. If your excuse is, "I don't have the energy," say, "Today I will prioritize my well-being to feel stronger." Then go for a walk, exercise, or eat something nutritious. What you tell yourself changes how you act. If you start repeating that you're leaving excuses behind, your mind will align with that belief and your actions will begin to reflect it. Like Wes, you'll move a little closer every day to becoming the person you want to be. Think about this. Excuses are comfortable, but they will never take you where you truly want to go. Every time you let go of even the smallest excuse, It's like lifting a weight off your shoulders. Leaving excuses behind isn't some grand heroic act you do once. It's a daily decision, an honest conversation with yourself. My friend, remember this. I leave excuses behind. Every day, every decision. That is the key. 7. I recognize my greatness. My friend, I want you to think about this. Your greatness is like a fire burning in the middle of a cold night. Sometimes it may seem small, like it's barely giving off heat, but it's still there, burning strong. The strange thing is, we're often the ones trying to put it out, as if we don't deserve to feel its warmth. We focus on our failures, forgetting everything good we do each day. But listen, that fire, that greatness, has always been inside you. You just need to recognize it, and it will start lighting up everything you do. Have you ever known deep down that you're capable of something, but still felt held back, as if something inside you whispered, "No, stay where you are, don't take the risk"? Psychologist Abraham Maslow called this the Jonah complex, the fear of shining too brightly, of standing out. And why do we do this? Because with greatness comes responsibility, attention, and maybe that makes you uncomfortable. But listen, that fear is just an excuse in disguise. Recognizing your greatness isn't just possible, it's necessary. Because even if you sometimes prefer to stay in the shadows, the world needs the light you carry inside. It's time to let go of the barriers you place on yourself and start speaking to yourself in a way that pushes you forward. The Stoics knew that greatness isn't reserved for heroes or leaders. It belongs to anyone who acts with virtue and determination. Seneca once said, "Our lack of confidence is what makes things seem difficult." In other words, most of the time, the problem isn't that we're incapable, it's that we don't believe in ourselves enough. And for him, this wasn't just an idea, it was a daily practice. Seneca spent time reflecting on his actions, writing in his journal about what he had done well and how he had handled challenges. He acknowledged his own achievements to strengthen his confidence and ensure he was living according to his values. Now, let me put you in a situation. Today, you finished an important project at work. You spent weeks putting in effort, making sure everything was perfect. You send the final email with the results. And what do you do next? Take a deep breath? Give yourself a moment to appreciate your hard work? Ha! Of course not. You immediately move on to the next thing because the world would stop spinning if you didn't keep going, right? Or worse, you start overanalyzing everything that could have been better. I could have done this differently, or it wasn't even that important. Do you see how unfair you are to yourself? You invest time, energy, and effort, but never allow yourself to recognize what you've accomplished. What would happen if instead of that, you took a moment to acknowledge your effort and your greatness? Ah, I see. You're so used to criticizing yourself that you don't even know how to recognize your own wins. Well, don't worry. That's what we're here for. How are you going to change that? Every night, write down 3 things you did well that day. They can be big or small. Did you finally complete a task you had been putting off? Did you check in on a friend or family member? Did you handle a situation at work the right way? Write down how these actions reflect the best version of yourself. For example, today I listened to a friend who needed support. This will help you shift your focus toward the positive. But don't stop there. Right after you finish writing those 3 things, say out loud, "Today I recognize my greatness." That way, you complete the cycle. I want you to take this with you. Recognizing your greatness isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Every time you do it, you strengthen your confidence, inspire others, and fuel that inner fire that drives you forward. As the great Nelson Mandela said, "There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you." My friend, your greatness isn't just yours, it's a gift to the world. So don't hide it, recognize it. 8. I free myself from the opinions of others. My friend, let me tell you something I experienced. For a long time, I let other people's opinions control me. I'd hear things like, "You shouldn't dream so big, it's not realistic," or "That path isn't for you, you should go for something safer." And of course, those words weighed on me. It was like they were trying to put out a flame I had just started to ignite. Every comment, every criticism disguised as advice made me doubt myself. I felt trapped, as if my life was being written by someone else, not by me. But then came a moment when I stopped and thought, why am I letting other people's words define what I am capable of? That was when I decided to free myself from the opinions of others. And I won't lie, it didn't happen overnight. It was a process. I started repeating things to myself like, what others think of me is not my responsibility, or my path doesn't have to make sense to anyone but me. Little by little, those affirmations started to sink in. I stopped worrying so much about the stares, the judgments. And my friend, that's when I finally started to feel truly happy. I followed my own path. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And that's exactly what happens with other people's opinions. You can't control what they think or say, but you can decide how much importance you give them. Freeing yourself from the opinions of others doesn't mean ignoring them completely. It means remembering that they don't have the power to define you unless you allow them to. Now picture this. You're getting ready for a dinner with friends. You have an outfit you love, something that perfectly reflects who you are and how you feel. But just before putting it on, doubt creeps in. What if they think it's too much? What if they don't like this style? Maybe I should wear something safer. It seems like a small thing, right? But it's a perfect example of how much weight we give to other people's opinions. So instead of wearing what truly makes you feel like you pick something neutral, something that won't stand out, something that isn't really you. Do you see how paralyzing it can be to live for the expectations of others? Now let's rewrite that script. Next time you're standing in front of the mirror and those voices start creeping in, take a deep breath and say, today, I choose to show up as my true self, without fear of judgment. Make this a habit, part of your routine before stepping out the door. Look at yourself, say it out loud, and smile. Because what matters isn't whether someone else likes it, it's whether it makes you feel authentic. And here's another tip. At the end of the night, take a moment to reflect on how you felt being yourself. Ask yourself, did I choose what I truly wanted, or did I give in to what others might think? Write down your answer. If you stayed true to yourself, celebrate it. If you didn't, don't beat yourself up. Just make a plan to try again next time. These small victories, day after day, will break the chains of other people's opinions. My friend, I want you to remember this. Other people's opinions are like the wind, sometimes soft, sometimes strong, but they can't knock you down unless you give them the power to. Freeing yourself from them doesn't mean you don't care about others. It means you no longer define yourself by what they think. That is how you find your true direction, your happiness, your path. Because in the end, real freedom isn't just about doing what you want. It's about being who you truly are, without fear of what others might say. Are you ready to break free from those chains? Go for it. There's nothing more liberating. 9. I live in the present. Living in the past is like trying to drive while only looking in the rearview mirror. What happens? You miss the road right in front of you, the only one that actually matters, the present. And the same thing happens when your mind is stuck in the future. The strange part? We know we should be here in the now, but our minds keep drifting. Have you ever been at a family dinner, surrounded by laughter and conversation, but your mind was somewhere else? Maybe you were replaying an argument from yesterday or stressing over your never-ending to-do list for tomorrow. Then suddenly you realize the moment has already passed. Your uncle told a joke that had everyone in tears, but you didn't hear it. Your cousin received a special gift and you missed the joy on her face. And when the night is over, there's that sting of regret. You were physically there, but you didn't live it. Do you think Marcus Aurelius allowed himself to get lost in distractions and miss the key moments of his empire? Imagine an emperor, faced with critical decisions, yet mentally wandering between past mistakes and future worries. Sounds impossible, right? But Marcus Aurelius was human, just like you and me. And of course, he faced distractions. But he knew something most people today don't practice: how to bring his focus back to the present. He summed it up with incredible clarity. Think always that you are living only in this instant, and that the rest of your life is suspended. For him, the present wasn't just an idea. It was his refuge. At the end of each day, he sat down to reflect, writing in his meditations. He reviewed his actions, how he had responded to challenges, and what he could improve. He wasn't seeking perfection, just the understanding that the only thing he could control was what he did in that moment. And that kept him focused on what truly mattered. Eckhart Tolle, author of The Power of Now, talks a lot about how to reconnect with the present. He explains that the mind naturally tends to worry or drift away, but that we can bring it back with something as simple as a question. But instead of just asking yourself a question, turn it into an affirmation. Why? Because when you tell yourself something, you anchor yourself to the moment. For example, instead of letting your mind get lost in the chaos of the day, say, "I am here now." Do this whenever you feel disconnected. As you say it, shift your focus to your surroundings. Notice the colors, feel the air on your skin, listen to the sounds around you. Imagine you're walking down the street and your mind starts spiraling. What am I going to do about that problem tomorrow? Why didn't I handle that situation differently yesterday? Instead of staying trapped in those thoughts, tell yourself, "Where am I? I'm on this street. I'm looking at a bird sitting on a tree branch." Seriously, try it. It's amazing how a simple phrase can cut through mental noise and bring you back to what truly matters. But don't just do this once and forget about it. This is something you need to practice every day, because remember, the brain is like a muscle, and it needs training. So practice while you walk, while you eat, even in the middle of a conversation. If you're at dinner and your mind won't stop racing, pause. Look at your plate and describe it. I am here, in my dining room. I am eating a plate of rice. And one more thing. At the end of the day, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, how many moments today did I actually live? Don't judge yourself. Just be aware and improve little by little. You can even write down one moment you truly enjoyed. Today, I was fully present when I stopped to watch the sunset. Or, today, I was present while talking to my friend. These small victories train you to be more mindful each day. My friend, life is not in the past, which you can't change, nor in the future, which doesn't exist yet. It is here, in this very moment, waiting for you to live it. And living in the present isn't just a cliche. It's an act of love toward yourself and those around you. Don't forget, I am here, I am living this moment, and that is enough. 10. I decide my reality. You've probably been there. It's Monday morning, your alarm goes off, and the moment you open your eyes, you already feel like the day is lost. You're exhausted, your to-do list feels endless, and one thought echoes in your mind. Today is going to be a disaster. But wait, what if you chose something different? What if in that exact moment, you decided that no matter what happens, you can choose how to experience your day? Because, my friend, here's the power we often forget. You decide your reality. Marcus Aurelius put it bluntly. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your interpretation of it. And you have the power to revoke that interpretation at any moment. The Stoics believe that events don't affect us. It's the meaning we give them that does. A rainy day has no fixed meaning. For one person, it's miserable. For another, it's a chance to slow down and enjoy the calm. Reality isn't something outside of you. It's how you perceive it. A powerful example of this is Helen Keller. Imagine losing your sight and hearing as a child. What would you do in her place? Most of us would feel defeated, trapped in an endless darkness. But Helen didn't see it that way. To her, those limitations weren't a sentence. They were a challenge, an opportunity to rise above. And she didn't just overcome them, she transformed them into her driving force. Helen once said, "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all." And she lived by that. She learned to communicate when it seemed impossible. She wrote books that inspired millions. She traveled the world giving speeches, proving that circumstances don't define us. Because she understood one essential truth: she couldn't control what had happened to her, but she could control how she responded to it. And in that decision, she found her true strength. Now let me put you in a situation. Imagine you're stuck in traffic. The cars aren't moving, and your mind starts spiraling. This always happens to me. I'm going to be late. What a waste of time. Do you see how these thoughts only increase your frustration? Now what if, instead of feeding that stress, you chose to shift your perspective? You could tell yourself, I have a moment to listen to an inspiring podcast. Or, I'm going to use this time to calm my mind. The traffic doesn't change, but your experience of it does. Here's something practical to start deciding your reality every day. First, each morning, ask yourself, what can I do today to create a reality that makes me happy? Write it somewhere visible. This will put you in a proactive mindset, reminding you that you always have the power to choose your outlook. Second, when you face a difficult situation, tell yourself, I choose to see the opportunity in this. It might not be obvious at first, but if you repeat it enough, you'll start training your mind to find lessons instead of obstacles. For example, if you run into a problem at work, you can see it as a burden or as a chance to prove your capabilities. You decide. My friend, we can't control everything that happens to us, but we can always decide how we respond. And in that decision lies our true freedom. Life isn't about waiting for things to change. It's about changing the way you see them. Because in the end, reality isn't just something that happens to you. It's something you create every single day. I invite you to embrace the power of the words you tell yourself every day. Let each affirmation be a seed that nurtures your strength, your confidence, and your purpose. Remember, my friend, what you repeat in your mind becomes your reality. So tell me, what words will you choose to say to yourself today? If you've made it this far, write in the comments, I decide my path. That way, I'll know who the true Stoic warriors are who made it to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a like so you don't miss out on what's coming next. I also invite you to check out our playlist, which you'll see on the screen. It's packed with ideas, stories, and advice to help you navigate life with more wisdom and confidence. Click it, and let's keep moving forward together. Until next time, take care and keep embracing your inner Stoic.